Hello art friends, this is Mia and I am doing the Crayola Challenge. As you can see, I have chosen the watercolored pencils, and if you follow my Instagram you have seen the thumbnail sketches I did to test out the colors initially, and they were Star Wars characters. And from that little doodle I decided to do a geometric Yoda. And this is kind of falling in line with Crayola. It just makes me very nostalgic for my childhood. So I decided to stick with the Star Wars. I don't find this to be as challenging. I grew up using Crayola products, as most people did. So, along the way, I've had like just the small packs and had to learn how to blend colors with what I had. So this set of 12 colored pencils really wasn't much of a challenge. It was pretty fun, being able to create the olive greens and the lighter shades of greens and super dark shades of greens to get all the nooks and crannies of this little geometric piece. In the beginning you'll see that I showed you my thumbnail sketches and my original sketch, and I started out just doing one half because I didn't feel confident being able to keep both sides symmetric while I was working on this. And it was a pretty quick project. I think overall it was maybe 3 hours of work, coloring process, but just the thumbnails and the initial image. So I sketched out one half, and then I used my light table and folded it over and created the full image, and then I scanned it with my scanner and printed it out slightly larger, and then used my light table again to transfer that image onto the 140-pound Canson watercolor paper that I'm using to do this image. I also sketched out a thumbnail of background images to fill the space, and prior to filling in all these little doodles, I did scan it just in case I didn't like the way the larger version came out versus the thumbnail version that I did of all these little amoeba-like doodles. And I initially had planned to fill the space in entirely, and halfway through doing all these little tiny lines and circles, I decided maybe I'd just keep the symmetry of having the full bottom with those little dangles, the little amoeba arms, if you will, and all these circles on, on the diagonal. So I went in and filled in the backgrounds, and on the initial thumbnail sketch, these colors blended really well. I used a pink for the base, like a sunset, brown in the middle to mix together with the pink. So I layered them on top of each other, and then purple and brown, which I also layered together. But as I started going over with the water brush, I should have given it a little bit darker of a coat than I did, because I do get a lot of smudging. The colors didn't want to mix well together on the paper. I just think there wasn't enough color in some spots. So at the very end, I did pull out the Crayola water-based markers and used the same trick that I used in my Kuretake clean color review, where I just kind of drew inside of my palette and then used my water brush to pick up the color and do a wash on top of the brown, the pink, and the purple once they were dried. I initially did plan on just using the watercolor pencils, just the bare spots of blank color. It started to look like a very far off distant landscape. That's not quite what I was going for. And then other places it looked like tie-dye, which is definitely not what I was going for. I just wanted a nice watercolor effect, and I don't feel that I got that from just the colored pencils by themselves, but you'll see that in the file scan. So coloring small areas of this worked much better than doing larger areas. And while I was going through this process, which did take quite a while, I'm just thinking about watching Star Wars as a kid and how much I loved the characters and how creepy it was, but it was still, I don't know, pretty exhilarating to watch. So it was a lot of fun doing this image. Alright, so it looks like I have completed my Crayola Challenge. If you guys would like to see me use a different Crayola product to do another challenge, let me know. Or if there's any other challenges out there that you would love to see done, let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.